This week on Now Here with Chris and Kell.
We're in a tight spot.
It's not bad. I mean, slightly worrisome, but just worried we're gonna run out of gas. We're pretty low when we started.
Were we?
Last week we woke up in paradise, but it didn't quite feel like paradise.
It's nice waking up to this beautiful atmosphere, but running on day 2 of little to no sleep, and we're gonna bug out of here and head to the next place and hope it's a little better. This is a little rough. Anyway, on to the next.
On the move again today. A little bit of a rolling night, not very fun, pretty poor sleep. So we're gonna pick up the hook and move to Tenacatita, which is supposedly a pretty great spot to be.
And fun to say.
Tenacatita. Tenacatita. Tenacatita.
Like 10.
Yes, Tenacatita. Kelly, I gave her the executive decision. She's had 2 nights in a row where she hasn't slept well, so she wants to go somewhere where it's going to be a lot more stable. So she didn't want to risk a potential another crappy night of sleep. So we're going to get out of here.
Go crazy.
Are you ready to go?
Yep.
We had a little trouble getting started this morning.
We appear to have fired up.
But things weren't 100%.
The starting battery's gonna be a problem.
Shit.
I don't know. We might want to take it in to have it tested.
Okay.
Take it where? Do you see where we are?
That sucks.
Anyway, let's get a move on.
Ready?
Ready.
We pulled up our anchor without a hitch, and soon we were on the move once again.
Success! Now we are back on the road, headed for Tenacatita.
Yeah, it would have been nice to hang out here a little longer, but running on no sleep was taking its toll. And honestly, this place was pretty small. We both felt like we had seen what we needed to see, and made the most of our stay. Our exit was a lot smoother going out than coming in. Today's passage was turning out to be quite lovely so far. Fingers crossed that our engine stays on and our autopilot behaves. We're really looking forward to checking out a new place. So far, so good. To pass the time, Chris casts out both our hand lines in hopes of catching a nice fat tuna. Still no luck on that front. The fishing game is becoming more and more discouraging as we continue south. Well, after 4.5 hours or 22.31 nautical miles, here we are.
Now approaching Tenacatita.
And surprise, surprise, again, we are the only ones here. It's easy to find a spot without any competition. We drop the hook like usual and settle in.
We can anchor wherever we want.
Yeah,
There's so much room for activities.
that's definitely true.
Speaking of activities, if you've been following along, you're probably well aware of our ongoing Watermaker saga. When we left Banderas Bay a few weeks ago, we had the last of everything machined, assembled, and ready to go, with the exception of our membrane. We've been holding out on a nice, clean, and calm spot to finish our project. This has been a long time coming, but
That's the brain, the membrane.
now that we're in Tenacatita, we decided this was the perfect location to finally install our membrane. Today, we will attempt to make our very own water for the first time ever.
Do you have any of that plumber's tape?
After about a half hour of boat yoga, we're all hooked up and ready to go.
Here is the big risk. If for some reason this doesn't work right and I don't have this one set correctly, it will, instead of coming out of this right here, it'll end up in our tanks, which wouldn't be good.
No.
Contaminating our tank water. Just make it a little salty, no big deal. Anyway, I think I've got it all here. I need to fire up the engine, get the supply on raw, engage the clutch, increase the pressure to 800 psi, and then hopefully water will flow out of this.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
It seems so simple after all this effort. Cross your fingers. It even starts up. Come on. What is the deal?
This isn't like a Eureka problem, is it?
I don't know what a Eureka problem is.
Remember that fuse block?
Oh, no, I don't believe so. I guess it could technically be.
After much tinkering on our engine and me panicking over being stuck here for all of time, a miracle happened. Our engine was up and running again. Now for the moment of truth for our Watermaker. Well, the good news is, it seems to be working. The bad news is we discovered a tiny design flaw in our faucet setup. And as the flow got stronger, the flaw became increasingly dramatic.
So it just doesn't quite get over this.
Chris filled up a cup and we tested our parts per million with our TDS meter. Well, the results are in. With a reading of 77, I think we can call this a smashing success. Anything under 200 is drinkable, so we're more than happy with this range.
We got some leaks to deal with, but I want to taste this.
Tastes pretty good to me. I feel like we should flush it and try to fix these leaks. Which one of them's back behind there, so it's gonna be a huge pain in the ass.
Yep, that was a pain in the ass. Next, we flushed the system and stuck a pin in this for now. The saga continues, because we won't be able to source the right fittings to fix our leak situation until we get to a proper town. And that's a hard maybe on whether or not the parts we'll need will be available.
Are we flushed?
I think so. I mean, it was a successful test with an asterisk.
Yeah.
Several of them. There's lots of leaks. Everything leaks, all the connections and stuff. So I just need to go through, tighten them up. I think I have a pretty good idea of where the leaks are. And shoot, the membrane works.
Yeah, that's great. We did it.
Well, we've started the clock now, Kelly.
Yep.
We gotta run this thing every 3 days.
We're real cruisers now.
Yeah, we got a Watermaker. Holy stuff.
All right, rock and roll.
I'm still kind of incredulous. I don't really believe it works yet.
I'm believing in it.
Good.
Woohoo!
After all that, we put our tools away and relaxed for the evening. Nothing around us but wildlife. Our backyard was full of dolphins, and they put on quite a show for us over the next couple of days. After an epic sea life show, Chris made some delicious tacos and we soaked in all the colors of this Mexican sunset. Tonight, we'd be getting some really good sleep, and we're both very happy about that. The days to follow were not as pleasant weather-wise. The wind and the swell were consistent, so while we were staying comfortable aboard Drifter, the elements were a little much to do any kind of exploring. Finally, we got some decent weather.
Today, we are getting off the boat. We've been here a few days in Tenacatita, but weather hasn't been super awesome, and we're waiting for a calm day to do this estuary tour with the dinghy. Not really sure what to expect. We have some friends that have done it before, and we know it's a thing, but we don't really know much about it. So we're going to take the dinghy in and go up the estuary. At the end, there's a cool snorkel spot called the aquarium, so we might check that out. But if it's too crazy out there, we might not. But we'll take our gear anyway. You know, it's important to always be prepared. And then after that, we'll come back here, pack up the boat, and get ready to go to Barra de Navidad, which we're pretty excited about. That's a place that a lot of cruisers talk about very highly. So yeah, that's the game plan for today.
First, we load up the goods onto Paul and head towards shore into the estuary cut. Conditions were decent, but not ideal. There was quite a bit of action near the mouth. Good news, we made it into the estuary safely. Not so great news, it was super shallow and we were both afraid to get out of the dinghy because there were known to be crocodiles in these waters. But we bottomed out and had no choice.
We made a wrong turn already. You can feel the surge though. We're just look for crocodiles.
Okay.
I'll look for crocodiles around you.
Sounds good.
We're floating again. Go ahead, come on in.
I think we're good. We made it. We made it
There's
out.
some pangolins out here. should be able to just kind of like float for a bit. You know, I think if I was ignorant of like that one trip in Sodfloss where you saw crocodiles hiding in the mangroves, this wouldn't be so bad. That we were in a big giant panda that was made out of aluminum. This is basically we're riding around on a balloon.
I found Nemo.
Look at that. Did you bring coffee?
No, I didn't.
Ugh.
Brought some soda waters.
I can't function without my coffee in the morning.
Oh, you're such a princess. This is very quiet. I'm not used to the quiet.
Ah! It's like we're in a gondola in Venice, Kelly.
It's exactly what it's like.
Serenade you?
Sure, serenade me, boy.
I go meow. I go meow. When the moon hits your eye like a bigger pizza pie, that's amore. I'm not being quiet so we can see the wildlife.
Hear that, Crocs? You stay there. It is super eerie. I don't think I'd ever want to do this at night.
Why would anyone?
I don't know.
You can't see anything. This reminds me of like the Amazon where, you know, you'd be worried about someone putting a blow dart in your ass.
Is that your experience with the Amazon?
Yeah, well, I've seen movies.
We spent the next several minutes drifting along deeper and deeper into the estuary, all while keeping our eyes peeled for wildlife, particularly those with sharp pointy teeth and jaws of steel.
They said there's a lot of branches, but the main drag is obvious. And so far, I found that to be true. It's 2.5 miles long. It narrows quite a bit. That's where the Crocs get you.
I'm so amazed how quiet it is out here. Eerie. You can hear all the trees popping and...
Over here.
Yeah. You think there's any big cats out here? The chupacabras?
I think this counts as slack tide, Kelly. I don't think we're going to be able to float because I'm pretty sure the wind is blowing us backwards at this point.
Yeah, we are clearly pivoting right now. Carry on.
We had to fire up our little outboard to take us the rest of the way, otherwise we could have been floating all day.
Mangroves aren't very woke. You should call this like people groves, really.
Really? We're going there. It's very
I've been
political.
watching a lot of stuff. Trying to brush up on my wokeness.
Your wokeness?
And decide whether I want to reject it or embrace it.
I think you're embracing it. You're coming out on, I don't know if it's the other side.
Only for comedic purposes.
Gotcha.
You know, like,
Well, we do have a boy for a boat, so it's very progressive.
that's a good point. But, you know, like, we should be able to let our boat choose its own gender, especially since it's not a chromosomal issue at that point. It's an anthropomorphizing issue. Wow, this gets really narrow, man.
Yeah, it does.
I'm testing my gondola skills. That'd be crazy if there was like spiky sticks here, and there kind of is. You just go slamming into it, and then all of a sudden you're sitting on one pontoon. One question I've always wondered is why this is set up so you steer left-handed. Is it so you can like do something with your right hand if you need to? It's like one of the only things I can think of that's set up to do left-handed. To the point where like people that are so strongly right-handed, they sit on the wrong side so they can steer with their right hands. You can actually see the reflection here. It gets narrow.
It does. I'm on lookout. We're in a tight spot.
It's not bad. I mean, slightly worrisome, but just worried we're gonna run out of gas. We're pretty low when we started.
Were we?
We might want to check it here in just a minute just to see.
What's that gonna do us?
Well, that's a good point. Give us worry.
It's a little late for that.
Anyway, here's a good time to take the one possible wrong turn on this journey.
This is less attractive, but still pretty cool.
I don't know about that being cool. This seems more like the Serengeti in my mind. I've never been there either.
After we realized our mistake, we quickly flipped back around and headed up the other fork. Some of us were slowly developing anxiety over the situation, while others remained carefree. We kept chugging along till the end. Hopefully, we can make it all the way back. If not, it's gonna be a really long paddle. Despite the possibility of having a really long day ahead of us, we did decide to go to shore and check things out. Might as well, right? We have made it this far. We successfully made it to shore, and after securing Paul, we hit the beach. We could see how this could be a popular place to be, but this was the off-season, and it was a ghost town. So after all that, we basically just turned around and headed back. Over here is the aquarium, which would have been a great snorkel spot had we actually had the time. Oh well, I hope this won't be our only opportunity in Mexico to suit up. Now it's back to Drifter. So far, so good. We're both remaining hopeful that we have enough fuel to get us back. But the real test will be getting out of the estuary and back into the bay. Right smack into all the wave action. Whew.
Let the adventure begin. Straddle as much as I can here with my legs.
That's what you're gonna get.
Okay.
Lucky. I think right now it's good.
Yep, let's do it.
Piece of cake compared to what I had to do. The outboard drop was out of the water.
Yeah.
That's how high up in the air that's throwing me.
You built that up so much for me.
Well, this is what I was worried about.
We safely made it back to Drifter. Now we need to pack up so we can get on to our next destination.
Alright, we've made it back.
We have. It was a fun adventure, and the bar was not near as scary as I was worried it might be.
Although it was fun.
It was lively.
Yeah.
Spirited. It was the right amount of fun. too.
Spirited, that's a good word choice.
Alright, I'm gonna get our anchor ready. You about ready?
Yep, I'm gonna fire it up here in a couple minutes, and we'll be ready to go. Just gotta write the conditions, which are...
But will our engine fire up this time?
Yeah! Woohoo! We're fired up! Yeah!
Now just gotta get this anchor up and we're off.
Alright, anchor is up and we are out. Bye bye, Tenacatita.
Tune in next week to see where we're shipping off to. And keep watching for this week's blooper reel, sponsored by our patrons.
Topolopampo.
Deep thoughts with Chris.
I go meow! Oh meow! I don't know who I am! Look away! Away!
There's somebody's thinking spot.
Because the nose of the ship goes where it goes. Right.
And I ain't got no worries.
'Cause I ain't in no hurry.
Tonight.